Well, we haven't finished with everything here at the 400 Thunder Aeroflow Drag Racing Series. We've still got our sportsman categories here at the moment to finish things off tonight. We've still got our third round of qualifying. We haven't got through everyone just quite yet. Of course, our pro categories are run and done. Good to see Stu White back on the mic with us here tonight as we round up a few of our categories that haven't made it out there yet in their third qualifying session.
Good stuff there from the Pro Series. As we get to qualifying number 3 for the junior drags, is Jaden Curry with a 1.75 to the 60. Runs on through with an 8.15 to James Loday, who's doing double duties this weekend. 8.05 with an 8. Also in our exhibition for junior drag bike, which have been doing a good job so far. We've only got 3 of them, but hey, it's still racing, it's still on track, and it's still keeping us all very entertained. And hopefully in the future, Matt, we will see a lot more of those bikes make their way out. Daniela Axiak from Luddenham out now in the Rocket Lane, currently our number 1 qualifier. About to take on Elias Marta in the A-Civil A-Class Dragster. Our number 23 qualifier dialing in with an 8.16 with a 9.
Yeah, got quite a few of the junior drags here this weekend. It's good to see a nice strong field of them as well. And look, they do a fair bit of travel, these juniors. We see a lot of these names starting to appear in the modified brackets as well now, and they've sort of stepped up to those categories, and we'll see those names continue on over the next 10 to 20 years as well. Great if you've joined us here on the 400 Thunder Facebook page or on the YouTube. Well, thanks to Sydney Dragway. 32 junior drags is entered here this weekend. It's a nice big field. Elias Matter gets down to an 8.35 at 76 miles an hour to a 7.92 at 76 miles an hour for Daniela Axiak. Dakota Bray in the Aeroflow lane is ready to go. Oh, here we go, just getting through the burnout. And you can see Dad's just going to say, hey, come on, let's get this in the stage. The car is ready to go. Zane Candela in the A Junior Drags. If you've just joined us here and you're not quite sure what's going on, A, B, C Juniors, well, it's basically an age category, and we do have a mile per hour and a ET limit on those categories. Obviously, C Juniors where you start at the younger ages from about 8 years of age, and you can go 12.5 seconds, then we let you go 8.5 seconds when you get a little bit older, and then you can go down to 7.9 seconds in an A Junior. So we see the speed differences in some of those. Dakota Bray taking a big bite out of the tree there and goes to the red minus 0.9. 0.53 though reaction time for Zane Candelo, that time from Barrack Heights in New South Wales. So it is qualifying session. Going too fast, going before the green isn't going to matter in this one, as long as we get the times. You don't go before the lights actually drop down. Ryan Pettiford now in the Aeroflow lane, thanks to Arnex Enterprises, Fine Line Motorsports and Princey Motorsport. Just coming through, Mum's bringing him into stage. Bailey Tendex alongside, all thanks to Ace Civil in the junior dragster. Tandek just get in there and waiting to come into stage now. The Ace Civil crew got quite a few competitors here this weekend.
Yeah, they certainly do. They've got a nice little setup down in the paddock. Right out the back. All right, Ryan Pettiford, well, 0.075 on the tree. He's got the jump on Bailey as they make their way to the 8th mile, and an 8.44 to an 8.57 for Bailey.
Yeah, watch out for Ryan Pettiford this weekend. He's had a few wins. We'll have to wait and see how he goes in the rest of the competition.
All right, Zach Brave, the Smith Transport and HPS Dragster, about to take on Claire Little from Forbes. She's our number 14 qualifier so far with a 8.033. And Zach Bray currently sitting at number 31 qualifier with an 8.59 with a 4. So just a little bit of adjustability there for Zach Bray. See if he can go a little bit quicker on this pass and vault himself up the order. Because qualifying does have a bit of a bearing.
When you've got 32 entries, yeah, that's where it starts to make a little bit more of a bearing, doesn't it? probably want to hope you're at the pointy end. Just say round one, you might have a little bit of leeway if you've got a bit better reaction time, a bit more experience maybe compared to some of the other juniors. You still got to manage to get it, cut a reasonable light and get close to that dialing time that you nominate tomorrow when it comes to our racing. Claire Little, unfortunately, with a red light there from Forbes in New South Wales. Watch out for her to return and bounce back tomorrow. That's a little bit too much apple juice, I think, as the night went on. That's all that is. Zach Bray there is 0.53. Reaction time goes 8.50 at 77 miles an hour. Of course, qualifying, no dial-in times. Not worried about that. They're going to be looking at what they've done previously. Going to be different conditions tomorrow too. Remember, we are moving in. It's 9:46 tonight already on the east coast here in Australia. So the juniors are up past their bedtime.
They certainly are, but you know what? They wouldn't change it. They get to drive their race car. They'd be smiling ear to ear. Zach Ruffalo, the Sydney Waterscapes dragster, about to take on Jacob from 5.U New South Wales in his B-class junior. Jacob currently sitting at number 29 in the qualifying order with a 9.069. And Zach Ruffalo currently sitting at number 17 with an 8.06 with a 2. Well, Zach Ruffalo had a good crack at the tree there. Unfortunately, 0.017 red, but as Matt said, it is qualifying. He runs on through with an 8.14 with 6 to an 8.973 for Jacob. So that's a good little improvement for him.
Yeah, well, look at the previous qualifying time, he had 9.0, so he's just improving that a little bit. That puts you all the way, think about that time, puts you all the way back down there at 29. So there's a lot of cars in within a 1 second range there, really, between 8 and 9 seconds there. These little gals will come out now in the SCG Racing Parts and Junior Dragster, taking on Tegan Smith from Albion Park, thanks to Power Cruise Promotions, Jetflow Plumbing, Speedy Diffs, Lucas Oil, Tony Smash Repairs, and JM Auto Repairs. They give that signal. You see Tegan Smith. Crew will now walk away. All in the hand of the junior. See, sometimes they're rocking these juniors side to side because, to engage that centrifugal clutch, you don't want to put too much in. It'll go too fast, go too far forward and you'll break out or you'll set the beams off. Sometimes you just want to rock it just because the traction on there, if there's a bit of glue there, just holding those tyres. There's the Gow's red light this time, won't matter, it is qualifying. Tegan Smith gets away with a 0.68. 8.019 at 80 mile an hour there for Gow's. Smith goes an 8.089.79. So they were both in the 790s a little bit earlier. Been a fair bit of time between their last qualifying session though in this one.
Well, talking about bringing the light show to Sydney Dragway, Chloe Ryko down there has got the LED lights on the car. Looks like something we used to see at Auto Salon back in the day. Running for Shane's Race Engines and Auto Barn at Albion Park. He's taking on Piper Bennett from Alfred's Point, New South Wales in a Stratos form. Dragster currently sitting at number 10 in the qualifying order with an 8.60 with a 9. Well, 0.010 on the tree for Chloe Ryko. Has got the eyes on. And goes an 8.11 with a 9 to an 8.634.
Alex Ruffalo now come out in the Aeroflow lane. Thanks to Sydney Waterscapes taking on a Rusty Wilshire. Well, we said that before. That's Colin's son now out there racing in the juniors. Queensland, all thanks to Prime Science and Speed Elect. Junior dragster, after watching Dad go out in the Pro Mod now, he's going to have to back this up in the junior.
They're usually up against some tough competition in Alex Ruffalo.
Go. Double red light there on the tree. Luckily it's qualifying, but they got the big LED lights on the back, don't they? You got to when you're, you're supposed to Speed Elect.
That's it. You got to have that look about you.
8.10 at 80.18 miles an hour for Rusty Wilshire. And Alex Rafalo is an 8.18 at 38, off very, very early.
Right, Jacob Schultz in the C-Class Junior from Karana Downs in Queensland, about to take on Jake McNamara from Fairfield West in the Arnox Enterprises and Fine Line Motorsports sponsored A-Class Junior.
It's going through the little burnout procedure there for Jake McNamara. Giving the signal.
See Megan just guiding Jake into stage.
Nice start there from McNamara, 0.84 reaction time. Red light for Schultz, like we say, qualifying. It's their third round of qualifying at the moment. Jake McNamara goes 8.15 with a 2 at 79 miles an hour. Jacob Schultz at 12.22 in that C Junior, so right up there, 51 miles an hour, probably a little bit, maybe a fraction faster. He's been running 12 ones earlier.
Yeah.
So just dropped out about a tenth of a second there, which we also saw from McNamara as well from previous qualifying times.
Right, Licky Lee Dransfield from Burpengary East in Queensland in the All-Stars Earth Moving A-Class Junior, and Alira Cardam from Noble Park in Victoria, the Speed Pro and RK Carpentry Junior. Alira's gone as quick as an 8.01 with a 3, and Ricky Lee Dransfield currently sitting at number 6 in the qualifying order with a 7.94 with a 4.
Nice start from both of them. 0.27 though for Alira Cardam. Very good reaction time. She takes off down the track, 8.088 after an 8.013 earlier. So very consistent there, 78 miles an hour. Ricky Lee Dransfield goes at 8.015. Number 11 qualifier, Harry Rako in the Aeroflow lane. The Rocket Lane, Carl Schultz. Number 20 qualifier at the moment, both A juniors. Run 8 zeros. Run an 8.093 and you're number 20 out of 32. That is to show you the range of times these juniors are running.
And it just goes to show too just how important it is to get as close to that 8.000 as possible in qualifying. Because it only takes a tenth or two of a second. You could be down in 4th.
Well, you're an 8.10 and you're number 11 there for Harry
Or even
Rako.
worse,
So some of these juniors might have a little bit up their sleeve, could possibly go a little bit faster. Some might not.
They sound great through the track bikes though, don't they, the JDs? The way that they pop and cackle.
Off the line a little bit fast. 002 on the wrong side of the tree there for Carl Schultz. Harry Rako goes 8.076, won't improve his qualifying time, and 8.241 at 80 mile an hour for Schultz. So won't improve qualifying time either. It's unfortunate from both those drivers. Seems like the afternoon session, the late afternoon session was the one to hit.
All right, it's a battle of the Canoolis. We've got Tiana Canooli in the Aeroflow lane in her A Junior, and Nixon Canooli down there in the A Junior.
All thanks to Olympus Loaders. All right, they're going to call them forward. Oh, red light there for Tiana. 0.42 reaction time for Nixon. They're pretty even as they go down the track as well, but it's an 8.31 for Tiana Canuli to an 8.13 for Nixon Canuli. So won't improve. They're about a tenth off as well off those times we saw earlier this evening or late afternoon, which we've seen from most of these junior drivers. Tom Baker, Currajong in New South Wales, all thanks to Image Conversions, BG Engines. Coming out in the Aeroflow lane alongside Caleb Seng. Thanks to Paramount Performance up there in Queensland and QMA Sandblasting, Earth Moving Mobile Auto Electric as well.
Yeah, good to see the Seng family down here for the East Coast Thunder here at Sydney Dragway, brought to you by Aeroflow Performance. And Tom Baker, been in junior dragsters a little while, doing a great job out there as well. But Caleb Seng, 0.030 on the tree. This looks like a very good pass from both drivers. An 8.14 with a 5. So an 8.72 for Tom.
Yeah, unfortunately, 790s in their earlier runs, so they've gone a little bit faster than that. And here we go, time to change over to something I can hear a little bit more RPM coming out of this one. It's a junior, but it's a junior drag bike.
Yeah, great little 125s and the 300s.
Look, tyres must be cheap, that's all I'm saying. I'd like to see them getting into the burnouts here, the junior bikes. James Lode coming out in the Yamaha R15 in the Aeroflow lane from Ripley in Queensland. Bobby Schluter alongside in the Rocket lane on the Kawasaki Ninja 300cc.
You have a guy from Sydney Random Riders who comes out on Wednesday nights for our Aeroflow Race for Real, who comes out and has some fun on the Kawasaki Ninja 300 over the quarter mile.
Roll them in, just got to work that clutch now. And they get away cleanly as well. Lode with the 118, the better reaction time of the two. But it looks like Schluter is going to get down there first with a 9.24 at 74 miles an hour on the Kawasaki Ninja.
Yeah, good stuff there from Bobby Schluter. And James Lode in 11.13 improves on his qualifying time as Jaden Badcock comes out now on board his Yamaha YZF 125.
What a weekend for the Badcock family. I mean, Granddad's out there racing in top bike. Andrew Badcock's out there. Pit crew, normally we see him in pro bike, but obviously a bit hard to have 3 bikes here this weekend. And of course, Jaden out here on the YZF 125 Yamaha, and he's been super consistent on the times is what we're hearing from Dad. It's all about getting that reaction time down. 184 reaction time this run. He's run a 12.0 and an 11.36, so that's actually improved his time. But 11.00 now. He is starting to wind that throttle on a little bit, I reckon, Jaden Badcock.
Well, I'm pretty sure that might be a PB for him. Cause
I'm pretty definite that is.
Because I'm pretty sure before the event they said he'd gone as quick as a 12-second pass. So he's absolutely smashed it. And well done to every single junior drag bike rider that has come here to Sydney Dragway for this exhibition. It's been fantastic. We will see more of them tomorrow for a race day here at Sydney Dragway.
Yeah, we've still got some categories to come out, though. I do believe we've got our top sportsmen coming out for their third qualifying run. Also modified performance bike, Supercomp and supercharged outlaws to round things off here tonight for qualifying day number 1 here at the East Coast Thunder, Sydney Dragway.
Well, welcome back, guys. We are about to get into Top Sportsman.
It's qualifying session number 3 for the Top Sportsman, guys. On track first, it will be Paul Partridge in the Ford Mustang for Coding King, taking on Josh Boscovich and the Ford XA Coupe for Bosco Mobile Mechanical. When we look at the ETs that these guys have run early today, Boscovich has run a best of at 8.26, and Partridge has run a best of a 7.93.
Yeah. Paul Galvin, one of our well-known commentators here at Sydney Dragway, is helping the crew for Paul Partridge this weekend. Of course, BK Race Engines building the motor for Paul Partridge. And Josh Boscovich, also sponsored by Wild Ink Custom and Race T Design. Actually, a couple of rounds ago at the New South Wales State Championship Series, Paul Partridge ended up winning the event in Top Sportsman.
Oh, Boscovich makes a big move towards the ball there off the line. Partridge gets out with an 0.50. Green light, though, goes through for a 7.87. His quickest pass of the weekend. 174 mile an hour. Boscovich goes an 8.52, 152 mile an hour. But obviously, he made that big move off the start line, Boscovich.
Yeah, Paul Partridge has been playing around with that car all day. They changed the rear springs in it. They've had to be playing around with ride height and a few little bits and pieces in it. It looks like they've got it where it needs to be. One of the cleanest cars you'll see in Top Sportsman here in New South Wales, Heracles Kazantzidis in the Kazmic Interiors van Commodore. And he's taking on Gregory Fowler from Morisset, the Fowler Transport Chevy Beretta, with 632 cubes of Chev power on board. This car's been around a long, long time, and hey, it still runs the numbers, mate.
Absolutely, mate. Fowler, he's run that 7.45 in qualifying today. Kazantzidis has run a best of an 8.07. Really, these conditions right now, they're not going to have this in first round of racing tomorrow. It's going to be completely different. Obviously, they'll be running in the morning, I guess, first round of racing. It'll be a bit warmer for these guys. So what they run right now probably won't really reflect the dial-in that they might put on the car tomorrow. But it's still good for them data-wise, because if they keep going rounds tomorrow, it'll be similar, I guess, later on in the evening if they go into the late rounds of racing. And Kazantzidis gets out with an 0.61 reaction time. Fowler 0.70. Fowler goes across the front finish line with a 7.49. Kazantzidis goes through for an 8.06.
Found a hundredths of a second right there, Heracles.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if you'll see too many guys improving now on the colder track in the sportsman classes. I think they'll probably run maybe 100 or 200 slower than what they ran today. I could be wrong. Just depending on how cold it's gotten out there anyway for these guys.
Yeah. And also, we don't really have a lot of turbo-based cars that are in Top Sportsman this weekend. So a lot of these cars are big cube, not naturally aspirated, or they got a little hit of nitrous on board.
Yeah, looking at Stephen Fowler, he's run identical 682s today so far, 682 with an 8 twice. Brett Schneider's gone best of a 782 and a 781, so he's been fairly consistent as well. Obviously, Stephen Fowler, though, 82 with an 8 twice. That is impressive.
That is very impressive.
If he goes 3 of them in a row, well, then shut the door.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone run the same ET 3 passes in a row.
That car's been very well dialed in since it debuted a number of years ago. Well, .012 on the tree for Steve Fowler. Brett Sheard goes 1.09 with a 3, and Steve Fowler goes to 684 with a 5 to a 7.84 with a 1 for Brett.
Yeah, so Fowler's pretty much on the money where I thought these cars would be, like 100 or 200 slower than what they ran today.
Yes.
So he runs through that 684. Next up, we've got Simon Isherwood. He's currently number 2 qualifiers, running best of 686. He's and a 687, so he's only had a 0.004 of a second spread so far today, Isherwood.
And that looks like the A Civil Tirana down there in the Aeroflow lane. Mr. Marta. Well, Simon Isherwood.
0.59 reaction time for him.
Yeah, I'm looking at the 60 foot, 1.04 and the 60. And goes an 886.
What's the competitor in the... we haven't got his name up here at the moment, but he moved over towards the centre line. Real close towards Isherwood there in the braking area. 9341.
Yeah, that was
didn't have his name on the system. Anyways.
I think that was one of the A Civil cars, Mark.
Yeah.
The little Tirana.
We've got a big field. The Speed Addict Clothing Company Top Sportsman this weekend. There was nearly 30 entries. I think it was 26 in total. On track, David Foster is our number 7 qualifier, has run over 775. And David Goldie, number 4 qualifier, with 736. Dave Goldie in the Oldsmobile Cutlass. He'll be looking to cut a good light on this pass.
Yeah, that definitely was Salem Mudder, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, I've been told on good authority that Dave Goldie cut a bit of a slow reaction time early today, but that wasn't his fault. There was some issues inside the car. So I'm sure he's looking to rectify that now.
And this car, David Foster's the big 57 Chevy. What a beautiful looking car this is, all the way up from Murray Bridge in South Australia.
So if we see the Dave Goldie of old, I expect a 15 light or better. Between a 005 to a 15, Dave.
Well, it's good to see him still racing.
Oh, 029, Dave. It's all right. It's a pass mark for you, but I'm sure you can do better. It goes through with a 739, 188 miles an hour, and David Foster goes to 774 or 176 mile an hour.
Right, George Mudder out now in the second of the A Civil Holden Tiranas. It's here this weekend. He's got 632 cubes of Chev power on board. He's taking on, well, it says Josh Fletcher, but that is not Josh Fletcher.
No, it's Daniel Morris. When they've got the number 1 on the side of the car, sometimes the computer system will pick up the number 1 from another bracket. So, yeah, Daniel Morris is the number 1 in Top Sportsman. He's the reigning 400 Thunder champion. And George Matter in the lane beside him for A Civil in that Holden Tirana. So Morris has run an 800, then a 797. So that's pretty much on the money for Morris. So I would expect on this pass for him to run maybe like another 799 or an 800 again as well. That'd be on the money in that area. You'd be happy with that, I think, in these conditions. If you can run around that high 790 region, low 80 for Morris, he'd be good. And he's good on the tree. So Morris, he's the sort of guy in a qualifying pass like this, you'd be expecting, like what I said with Goldie before, 15 or better on the tree. And when you are the champ as well, you know, there comes some high expectations for those guys.
Yep.
Don't make a liar out of me, Morris. Let's see what you do on the tree. 019. It's good. It's good. 129 from Matter.
Great drag race.
And runs a 798, 170 mile an hour.
George Marta goes to 796 with the 9.
Yeah, that's a good pass, George Marta as well. He improves. It's his quickest pass in qualifying.
Right, Ennio Morocco from Junction Village in Victoria, the Martello Automotive Pontiac Firebird, about to take on Lisa Sargent from Mountain Rankin in the Sargent's Roofing Chevy Nova. Now she's got a 598 cube Dart motor on board, and Ennio in this beautiful Pontiac Firebird, he's got a 400 cube Chev.
Yeah, Lisa Sargent in that Nova, currently the number 22 qualifier, has run a best of an 8:53 today. Ennio has run a best of an 8:34 and currently qualified number 20. But qualifying in Top Sportsman, it doesn't really matter, I guess you could say that, because it's a class that's not about how quick you are, it is just about the consistency and how good of a driver you are, and whether you can predict what your car's going to run in racing and hit a light. Oh, big move for Sargent there towards the centre line. Morocco's got a fairly straight pass. He goes through, runs an 8:48, 143 mile an hour. Sargent goes 9:18, 146 mile an hour.
All right, well, the two orange cars down on track. Got the second of the Sargent Racing cars down there. The Chevy Camaro with a little bit of nitrous on board. And of course, David Whitmore in the ex-Brett Balfour 66 Chevy Nova, who's got the supercharged 400 cube Chev on board. Also sponsored by Burson's Garage and Jeff Sargent, the Sargent's Roofing Chevy Camaro, 522 cubes on board for him. Also sponsored by All Flex Engineering. Big purge of the nitrous there.
Yeah, having a look, Jeff Sargent has run a best of an 8:12, but looking at his speed, 171 miles an hour, that tells me that's potentially a 7-second car at that speed. I know sometimes the sedans are a little bit slower off the line because they're a little bit heavier and they come home stronger, but 171 miles an hour, that's good speed. As you can see, Whitmore's done 171 as well, slower speed, but an 8:02.
See the nitrous flames underneath Jeff Sargent's car, and he goes an 8.09 with a 7 to an 8.070 for David Whitmore.
Yeah, Sargent's car's really, really conservative off the line, only 132 to the 60 foot. Normally, just any sort of car running in the 8.1s or 8.0s would be low 120s, easy. Easy, knocking on the door on the 160 foot. So, yeah, they're definitely just baby stepping it down the track there. That's good.
All right, Steve Horvat from Beachmere in Queensland, the Horvat Racing Holden Monaro. He's got 572 cubes of big block Chev on board.
He went trip zip in qualifying today, Steve Horvat, and backs it up with an 0.15 here, so he's really sharp on the tree today. See how he goes ET-wise. He went 8.37 early today, he goes 8.36 with the 5, so not only is Horvat sharp on the tree, the car is consistent. And as a driver, that's all you can ask for. You know, you've got a consistent car, you're cutting good lights. He should feel really confident going to round 1 racing tomorrow.
Yeah, it's been a very good, consistent car out there. Jaden Singh out there now, the Paramount Performance Holden VH. Now, this is generally a pro radial car.
It was actually entered in pro radial.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we didn't get enough entrance in pro radial, so he's moved over into Top Sportsman, and he's gone all right. 798, 171 mile an hour so far in qualifying for Jaden Sang. And the Paramount Performance Holden VH, LS power on board. Obviously, those guys know how to make a bit of power out of the LS engines.
Yeah, they've certainly become pioneers up in Queensland with the LSs, and I take my hat off to them as well, because they're putting in some good numbers and good racing on track for our fans.
Yeah, it's dipped into the 4-second zone. over the 8th mile racing for the radial side of things.
Oh, 7.95 at 3. That's a massive amount of time that he's shaved off his qualifying time. Goes into number 11 qualifier with that pass.
And now we're moving into the modified eliminator bracket, their final qualifying session this evening for these guys. And I think Simon Barlow is our number 1 qualifier at the moment in modified eliminator with a great 6.70 earlier today.
I'll tell you what, Anthony and Rochella from Hillier in South Australia, the Just Muscle Cars 37 Chev Coupe. One of the best looking cars in modified at the moment. Stunning looking vehicle. And in beside him is Jess Turner from Epping in Victoria in the nitrous assisted Spitzer Dragster. Currently sitting at number 2 in the qualifying order with a 6.81. And Anthony and Rochella currently sitting at number 12 with an 8.03 with a 3.
Actually, I think Rochella might have reset a record today. You might have put that on Facebook that I saw just before in this hot rod. How about that from Jess Turner? 6.75.
Wow.
That's a quick pass for those guys down there in that team. 6.75 stays in the number 2 spot. Rochella goes 8.02 at 171 miles an hour as well beside her.
Right, Peter Carlton from Bowraville in New South Wales in the Swale Frontage and Dragster. Also sponsored by Maxfield Mowers and Auto Centre and Number 1 Engineering. He's got this very nice looking frontage and dragster with a 350 Chev. And in beside him, Stephanie Heisman's all the way from Spring Hill in the Great Western Auto Wreckers Altered. She's got 509 cubes of Chev power on board her Altered. She's gone as quick as an 8.02 at 162 miles an hour. And Peter Carlton currently sitting at number 16. He's gone 8.81 at 148. I do love the look of Steph's Altered from the back, Mark.
Absolutely. Absolutely. .020 reaction time there for Stephanie. 0.55 for Peter Carlton in the front engine dragster. And Stephanie will take the dragster through, runs an 8.01, 169 miles an hour. Carlton goes 8.95 at 147 miles an hour here in modified qualifying session number 3.
It was a big move to the left for Stephanie off the start line, but she gathered it back up. As Andy Driver comes out now from Kingaroy in Queensland, the A&K Site Services and Engineering Dragster. About to take on Corey Dyson, another former junior dragster driver from Kilmore in Victoria, the Mobile One Oils Dragster. He's number 9 qualifier with a 7.60. And Andy Driver currently sitting at number 6 in the qualifying order with a 7.14. Cubes on board for Andy Driver, 600 cubes of big block Chev that he's got behind his head.
Andy Driver has been pretty consistent today, 716, 714. He is the 400th under modified champion, reigning champion at the moment. Oh, trip zip for Corey Dyson, 000 here in Q3. Second one I've seen today. Andy Driver goes 719, 187 miles an hour. Dyson goes 762, 172 mile an hour. But clap your hands there for Corey Dyson, 000 on the tree, perfect reaction time. That's the way to finish qualifying.
I reckon. Put your stamp on it. Simon Barlow, our number 1 qualifier in the Reeds Transport Dragster. 670 with an 8, as Mark said a little bit earlier, and he's taking on Rocco Romano in the Nix Mini Skips and High Tech Oils Bolton Dragster, who's currently sitting at number 5 in the qualifying order with a 7.13 with a 5. So Rocco, he'll be looking to try and go around that 7.14.15 bracket at the moment.
Yeah, a lot of these guys will throw dial-ins on their cars because you want to treat qualifying as if it's a race anyway. So if you go into the qualifying run, treating it like a race, so put a dial-in on the car, try and predict what you think the car's going to run, because then you go back to pizza cake. So why didn't I run what I predicted? So where was I wrong in my prediction?
Yes.
And you learn from your qualifying as well, so you can keep learning and you're not waiting until racing to only throw a dial in car. So a lot of these guys will work out, okay, what would I dial in on this run? Yep. You know, so Simon Barlow might have 673 on the side of the drag, so you know, thinking about what this car would run in these conditions. And that's just a really good way of going about it. If you treat every race like it's round 1 of the Winter Nationals or whatever, as you see Barlow go through with a 672 with a 9, and Rocco Romano goes 717 at 182 mile an hour. So Simon Barlow is consistent, good lights this weekend as well. So that's good.
Yeah, Rocco Romano, though, to pick a dial in, going to be a little bit trickier.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. It was only a few hundredths off what he'd run earlier. In modified though, when you're talking hundredths of a second, you know that you don't want to be giving your competitors any sort of advantage. You want to be dialing in on what the car is going to run.
Right, Dave Porter, the Gordon Brooks Sand and Quarry Dragster, all the way down from Kingaroy in Queensland, about to take on Daniel Flack in the Southwest Fuel 32 Bantam Alden, owned by Mick Stower.
So there's a couple ways of thinking about how you're going to dial in when it comes to racing. So there's the safe way, where some people go, let's dial in safe, and we'll dial in, we'll say 700, but the car might not run that quick. They might only run 1 or 2 hundredths over the dial in. So you won't break out, but what you're doing when you dial in safe is that you're allowing your opposition some advantage if you don't run on the dial in, where the guys that might dial in aggressive, potentially they could be breaking out, but they're not giving anything away to their competitor at that point of the time with the dial-ins. As we watch Daniel Flack go across the finish line here with an 829, 159 miles an hour, and David Porter in the dragster goes an 874, 130 miles an hour.
And is that where it gets a bit important, Mark, that in a way you watch your competitors as well? When you're sitting in the car waiting to go, are you watching some of the cars in front?
Personally, I don't really watch too much of the competitors because you don't know what they've done to their car.
Okay.
So you don't know if they've changed anything in the setup. So that's why you should only ever really think about yourself. It's cliche, but you run your own race.
Yes.
If you start worrying about what other people are doing, well, then you're not putting all your focus on your own driving and your own team.
Yes.
And it's just it's one of those things, I guess. If you're going to be looking at the other cars, it's more about the track conditions. I'd be looking at what the cars are doing in front of me, whether they're turning the tyres or whatnot, you know.
Yes.
That's more of something I'd be thinking about.
Right, yep. It's good to see Alison Stewart in the car this weekend, running for LA Racing Lubricants. Taking on Danielle McCaskill. Danielle McCaskill, another one of our former junior dragster drivers, made a step up into modified and goes a 723 with a 4 to an 8.04 with a 0 for Alison Stewart. So Alison Stewart jumps up into number 13 qualifier on that pass. I noticed Alison has changed her hair colour, so it makes it a little bit easier to pick up with the twin sisters. About to get into performance bike. And we have some very, very crazy riders in this bracket. Craig Edwards on the AA CB designated bike, running for Disturbed Racing, the Suzuki Hayabusa, and he's taking on Ken Collin on the Rascal Race Engines A altered bike. So
we're just looking like they're checking the lane here, the Rocket Industries lane. There might be something on the racing surface. So we've been given the shutdown signal here.
Craig Edwards on the AA comp bike.
It's good while we've got a bit of a stoppage here. We might throw to some of the supporters here at the East Coast Thunder. We're back underway with some racing very, very soon.
Hey everyone, Pat from Aeroflow Performance here, and today I'm going to walk you through our range of OEM bank shift attack shifters. So these shift handles effectively give you the option to replace your OEM shifter handle, so you don't have to have this in your cabin anymore. These new billet shifters are great for the enthusiast that basically wants the race style attack shifter style handle that we have here, but still retaining the OEM console, the OEM gearbox functionality. So all of those features can be retained, but you do get to dress up the cabin of your modern street car with these beautiful new billet pieces. So these beautiful billet units are fully customizable, and they'll dress up the interior of your modern street or performance car really nicely. It's a simple operation to install, and as I mentioned, all of the factory features of your factory gearbox and shifter are retained. You just get this great looking billet unit with the attack shift lever to replace the button or whatever it is that you normally have on there. So we've got these to suit a range of modern vehicles, including Holden Commodores, both VT and VX, then VY and VZ, and also VE and VF. In addition to Holden Commodore, we also have Ford options, so the Ford Mustang from 2015 up, and Ford Falcon from BF to FG and FGX, when running the ZF 6-speed gearbox. Stick with us, we're going to go and show you one of these shifters in action in a vehicle. It's in a VE Commodore, so we'll show you how the function works, how that it dresses up the interior, and how simple it is to use. Alright guys, so as you can see, we're here inside a Holden VE Calais. This vehicle is fitted with the 6-speed.
Well, welcome back everybody. We are into performance bike. And we've got Craig Edwards in the Aeroflow lane on board his AA comp bike. And in beside him is Ken Collin on board his A altered bike.
Yeah, so currently these guys are number 1 and 8 qualifiers respectively. Craig Edwards has gone under his national record by 0.12 of a second. Almost 0.12 of a second on that AA comp bike. Turbo bike for Craig Edwards, a Suzuki Hayabusa. Has campaigned in the extreme bike class over the years as well. Ken Collin has run to the 770s. He's the one of the record holders, I think, for this class for the A altered bike. But he's got issues here off the start line. Edwards, not so much. He's going to go straight down the middle here. Runs a 7.19, 200 mile an hour for Craig Edwards. Consolidates the #1 spot. He improves by just over a tenth of a second. 7.19. Ken Collin with issues at 10.75, 108 miles an hour. But all eyes on Craig Edwards. Great speed, 200 miles an hour. The team looked pretty happy down there. I'm not sure if was that a PB for Craig Edwards? It might have been for that bike rider.
That was huge.
Could have been his first 200 mile an hour pass as well. We'll have to find out.
We've got Matt Wilson out there now from Nunda in Queensland on board the C altered bike, taking on John Mengel from Oxley in Queensland on the Double D altered bike.
Yeah, national record for the C altered bike of Wilson's an 8.51. He's only run a best of an 11-second pass today. John Mengel's got the 7.95 record on the Double D altered bike.
John Mengel straight through with a 7.94 with a 1. On
he's gone under the national record with that pass. Mengel.
Matt Wilson's bike just didn't sound crisp. I don't know whether he had trouble getting in the gear.
There's obviously issues with Wilson's bike, and that's Q3. So round 1, he's going to be under a little bit of pressure, Matt Wilson. Well, he's got tonight to try and fix it anyway, whatever the issues are on that bike. Next up, Nathan Ward on the Suzuki Hayabusa for Alpha Performance Inches to take on Rob Wilkinson on the Suzuki GSX-R, running on the B Street bike, national record of a 9.32. He's run 9.23. He's gone under the record. He's got to get a few more tenths if he wants to get in the #1 spot off of Craig Edwards. Ward has run a best of an 8.03 today, so he's a couple tenths over the record for a altered bike of 7.75. Oh, Ward is spinning the rear tyre here on that bike, so he won't improve. Wilkinson, let's see if he can go quicker than that 9.23, and he does. He goes 9.09, 159 miles an hour, so he consolidates that #2 spot. It's not enough to knock off Craig Edwards at the moment, but he does go get a little bit quicker. He picks up a tenth and a bit as well.
Yeah, it was big speed there too from Rob Wilkinson, 159 miles an hour. I can see Joe Curry down there in the rocket lane on board the K&S Autosports Harley-Davidson Destroyer.
So Chris Collin, he's the 400 Thunder Performance Bike Champion. The reigning champion here in Performance Bike, running on the B Altered bike this weekend. So he has run an A Altered bike. He's back to B Altered bike. Has run a best of an 8.07 on the 8.04 national record. Joe Curry on the V-Rod, the Harley Destroyer, has run a best of a 9.13 today. So he's about half a second over the national record at the moment with an 8.69.
Chris Collin, 1.28 in the 60. He goes 8.10 with a 9 to a 9.17 for Joseph Curry. And I dare say that finishes qualifying for today for day 1 of the East Coast Thunder.
Yeah, that's it. That's a close to day 1, and that's been a bit of an exciting day for us, Stu.
It has.
We saw some passes. Yeah, we saw some really good qualifying there from the pro categories. The sportsman guys put on a good show as well. We had over 250 entries, so we've seen a lot of racing today. But tomorrow's a big day. Tomorrow is where it all matters. We'll be getting underway with racing for a lot of the brackets. Might have a couple of qualifying sessions for the sportsman categories that didn't get done today, but it's been a big day. It's been a long day for us, and we want to thank everyone that got out here to Sydney Dragway today on a Friday. I'm not sure how many of you guys chucked sickies from work to be out here all day. But we applaud you guys that got out here. And to all of our viewers on YouTube and Facebook as well, hopefully we'll see you guys tomorrow. Of course, we will be on KO tomorrow as well. From I think it was 1:40 it starts on KO tomorrow for the racing. Anyway, so that's day 1 and dusted here for the Aeroflow 400 Thunder Professional Drag Racing Series. I'm Mark Allen and Stu McCarthy, and we're saying good night to you guys. We'll see you tomorrow.